Hi, and welcome back to David Pattinson's Accused Friends. Today I want to talk about the Cyprus Gang Rape case, which has been in the news over the New Year's period. And it was an incident that occurred involving a British woman from Derbyshire. She went to Cyprus last summer and was involved in this gang rape incident. And kind of a convoluted story. She got involved with this Israeli guy 3 days after arriving there and began a sexual relationship with him right away. And after a few dates and a few different meetings, was at this guy's hotel room, had a sexual encounter with him, and then it was alleged that 11 of his friends came in and gang raped this woman, and she reported it to the police. These 12 men were all arrested and held for 10 days, and they were released. And then this British girl was charged with making a false accusation, and she was convicted of this offence, and she was sentenced just the other day. And I just want to kind of talk about the case and what I've learned from it, or really not learned from it, because there's so many missing pieces of information. So first thing we know is that one of these men, or more than one of these men, filmed the sexual encounter going on, which, if you're a rapist, it is probably not the smartest thing to do. And but what it does do is it gives a sort of a visual idea of what happened in the hotel room. And the authorities looked at this video and were satisfied, having watched it, that it was not gang rape. The woman was taken by her friends right afterwards to a doctor for an examination, and as I understand it, the doctor encouraged her to report it to the police. There was DNA of 3 men on her, so the question becomes, well, what about the other 9? And I know one of the other 9 had mobile phone footage to show that he was not even there. So it does draw some suspicion on the claim of 12 men raping this woman. Maybe some of them did or some of them didn't. But obviously the video presumably showed what happened. The girl was then given a sort of a nice hotel room to kind of recover, and was celebrating with her friends and this sort of thing. And this kind of aroused suspicion with the authorities, along with the video, that maybe this girl wasn't being completely honest about what happened. And she was then re-interviewed by the police and signed a document to say she was retracting the rape allegation. And she was then subsequently arrested by the authorities, accused of they call it public mischief, but it's making the false accusation and wasting police time. So she was convicted of this offence, I think just before Christmas, or just right after Christmas, and she'd been held sort of in prison, or on the island, unable to leave the island of Cyprus, awaiting this court case. And it's been blown up in the press. There's been all the feminists out there saying, all accusers must be believed, and the girl's got to be believed, and the authorities coerced this retraction out of her, and the rape's still legitimate, and all this sort of stuff. And I just want to point out some of the evidence here. I mean, this video has not been released to the public, and it's not clear that any of the journalists reporting on the case have watched the video. So, first question I've got is, well, what's on the video? If it's a gang rape, if it shows that clearly, let's see the video. Why are the authorities, going against what the evidence clearly shows? Second thing is that on New Year's Day, the British papers were reporting that they knew this girl's name, but had chosen not to name her. And in British court cases, as people know, rape, victims or rape accusers cannot be named for legal reasons. But, the press didn't say that. They said, we know the name. Well, they didn't say we've known the name, but they said we've chosen not to name the girl, which implies to me that they did know the name, and they've made a conscious decision not to name her. And then a week later, the press is saying, well, we can't name her for legal reasons. And it's like, well, what are the reasons between New Year's Day and the 6th of January that have changed from, in the name, but choosing not to name her, to not being able to name her for legal reasons? And I think the media is trying to imply that she's a genuine rape victim, even though none of these men have been charged with rape, and she's actually been charged and convicted of making a false accusation. Also in the press, there's been a sort of a almost unanimous feeling that the authorities have got this completely wrong. Yet we can't seem to get any clear clarification. We can't interview the girl because, according to her family, she's suffering from severe PTSD. She sleeps 20 hours a day, and, she's really in no mood to talk to anyone. The friends of hers that had taken her to the doctor, they all of us, we don't know who they are, we haven't spoken to them, and now it seems the mother's saying, the girl has been abandoned by her friends, and it kind of makes me wonder, well, what kind of friends abandon someone that's been gang raped? I mean, either you're a friend or not a friend. So it makes me even more conscious to kind of find out who the friends are, speak to the friends, find out from the friends, what's going on. Who's the doctor that encouraged her to go to the police? It would seem common sense that if a girl's saying she's been gang raped, you would proceed and say, yeah, go and report this to the police. But let's find out from the doctor, what went on here. And then these men, they were Israeli men. They gone back to Israel. These men were all named, whereas the girl was not named, even though the men were not charged or convicted. The girl was charged and convicted. So it's like, well, why are we naming the guys but not the girl? And, these men, do they have a long background of sexual offences? Do they have no criminal record? I think that would shed some light on this case from the British public's point of view. And so anyway, there's a big sort of public furore. The British government was involved, the Foreign Secretary was involved, the Prime Minister of Cyprus was involved, and the girl was convicted, given a sort of suspended jail sentence, given credit for time served, and allowed to come home to Great Britain, which is what happened. So the way the media portrayed this is that the girl was the victim of rape. The guys had kind of got off from being convicted, and the girl was totally convicted in a total miscarriage of justice, yet refused to provide any evidence to the British public that would kind of back up their position. And, we don't know the girl, we don't know the friends, we don't know the doctor, we haven't seen the video. And just makes you wonder why the press has been so keen to not be forthcoming about this case. And what about men in Great Britain? If they meet this girl, are they at risk of being falsely accused? And also makes you wonder why we're not using this as a teachable moment for British women. Did this woman, she gets involved in a sexual relationship with this guy after 3 days. Had she done a criminal background check on this guy? Had she done a financial background check? Had she thought about whether she got pregnant with this guy, if he had a job, if he had the means to raise a child? We don't encourage women to focus on their safety. I encourage every British citizen, if you're going to a foreign country, find out what the laws are when you're there, and focus on safety. I mean, you never know in a foreign country. You never know in our country. I think everyone should focus on safety, especially women. I'm a big advocate of female safety. We have all this hysteria now in the press and in the popular culture, or the public discourse, I should say, about rape and about sexual offences. And yet you'd think we'd be urging women to focus on their safety so much more than we are. And, as I've said before, the media and media in particular, but also the Crown prosecution, they financially benefit from these sexual offences occurring, yet they do not benefit so much from sexual offences not occurring or being prevented from occurring. A rapist cannot assault anyone in a hotel room if he's in there on his own. And so, women should really think very carefully, I believe, about, getting involved with, putting themselves in vulnerable situations, getting involved with foreign men in a foreign country without considering proper security. And I don't know if this girl's parents are talking to her about personal safety or warned her about it before she went on the trip. We don't know, because we don't know who they are. The press haven't got to the bottom of it. Maybe they chose not to name her, or maybe she couldn't be named for legal reasons. Yet I'm interested to know what the legal reasons are. We name men pre-conviction, we don't name women post-conviction, and why is that? So anyway, I hope you found this video interesting, and thanks again for watching David Pattinson's Accused Friends.